To start off with, I want to talk about who we are as Visual Unity Global. We are positioning ourselves as a leader in end-to-end OTT solutions. We have an OTT platform, and I'll talk about what OTT is in a moment. And we also have a multi-screen portion of our portfolio, multi-screen services, and I want to talk about that as well and define what we mean by multi-screen in Visual Unity. So this is kind of an overview of some of the terminology and where we are in terms of Visual Unity. This is an interesting slide because it talks about some of the trends that we're seeing in terms of consumer behavior. There is a very strong trend of more video over the internet and more people watching video over the internet and less people watching television. There are some discussions around the death of broadcast and death of television. I think in the end it's going to come down to a harmony between how much television we watch, live news, sports, and other things on television, streaming, versus streaming technologies which will also complement our viewing of entertainment. But generally speaking, there's different studies that talks about around the end of this decade, we're going to see a crossover of amount of television we're watching versus the amount of streaming video we're watching. So that's quite significant because it plays right into the industry that we are in and how much opportunities that plays in terms of where we sit as Visual Unity. Where does that lead? Connected TV, of course, is any television that's connected to the internet. There are several other terms that we now use, which are smart televisions. Now, the difference between a connected television and a smart television is that the connected television may be connected to the internet through a set-top box or a gaming console or a Blu-ray player, for example, or through a computer being treated as a monitor. A smart TV basically brings that internet connectivity into the television itself, so you don't need a set-top box in order to connect to the internet. And that smart component could relate to maybe some social networking, the ability to open up some apps on your television console and so on. So social television is part of this discussion. We also talk about TV anywhere or TV everywhere, and these are also related to connected television. So as Visual Unity, we provide a connected TV solution. We can offer set-top boxes, we can offer applications in terms of gaming consoles or set-top box applications, and we can also do smart TV applications as well. So we play a strong role in connected television. IPTV in the internet world is multicast. Okay, so you have a video platform or a broadcast service, and you have set-top boxes around your subscriber base, and you want to use the internet to deliver that video, you can multicast that video to all those users. Okay, so that's IPTV. We can offer IPTV services as well. Okay, OTT and OVP are unicast service. It's like a one-to-one. Every time somebody wants to see that video, they each get their own unique connection. Okay, so multicast or IPTV is a little bit more complicated because the network has to be configured in order to multicast, which is quite complicated, and you have to control the IP space that you are wanting to broadcast, which within certain countries you can do that. You can't really multicast over the internet per se, but we can offer IP TV type solutions as well. Now, connected television leads into multi-screen. In the broadcast area, multi-screen talks about multiple screens. You know, you look at a broadcast service provider and you see multiple screens. That's the classical term of multi-screen. But we've kind of evolved the term of multi-screen to now refer to these 5 screens. The classic one is cinema. That's the big one that started modern entertainment, let's say. Television, laptops, PCs, tablets, mobiles. These are kind of like the 5 multi-screens. So we play a strong role here. In some areas, it's around providing applications and application development to develop applications for different multi-screens so that the companies that are offering streaming video can deliver their entertainment or their video to any of these screens. So we provide several services in that space. That leads into OTT. OTT is over the top, and let me define OTT in terms of some of the origins of OTT. OTT is basically referring to any type of service that bypasses a traditional service. Let's say in SMS, text messaging, we had applications like WhatsApp, like Viber, then Apple came out with the iMessage. These are all messaging services that went through the internet instead of through the classical mobile service. So those messaging services are over-the-top services for messaging. In this context, OTT is really talking about sending video that bypasses broadcasters. OTT services, we're kind of defining it also to another level. So in terms of OTT, we see OTT like a large repository of entertainment libraries, such as, if you're familiar in the US, like Netflix. YouTube is a classic example of an OTT service. In the UK, there's Love Film, which have, in many cases, petabytes of data, and they're serving entertainment through very large libraries. So that's how we kind of position OTT in terms of visual unity, and a lot of providers are looking at OTT from this perspective as well. That leads us into OVP, which is online video platform. We could look at OVP as the same thing as OTT because they're both serving video. But the way we're defining it is that we are serving video to a much smaller scale. Okay, so in OTT, we're serving video in terms of petabytes of data. And by the way, a petabyte is 1,000 terabytes, just so we're clear. Whereas OVP is serving terabytes of data. And when we're serving terabytes of data, it may not be entertainment. It may be an enterprise company that has a repository of videos. Let's say a product company that's selling office desks or camera equipment, and they want to have testimonials, they want to have demos on their website, and various other types of videos which show the capabilities of their products, and they need a video platform to deliver that video to their clients, but they're using that video to sell their products. So this is really kind of the difference between the two types of ways of looking at video delivery. One is looking at video from an entertainment perspective, and one is looking at video from an enterprise perspective. Okay? Now, we see video from the perspective of entertainment. Okay? We've been in this industry for 23 years. We come from broadcast, so we look at video from an entertainment perspective and delivering entertainment to clients over the internet as well as through broadcast services. But there's a very big market we see now that the internet is ready for video in order to deliver that video not just for entertainment but for everything else in the corporate world. And there's a lot of revenue opportunity, such as online retailers that can use that video in order to serve selling their products. And just to put things in perspective, there are around 25 million online retailers in the world. And even if 1% are going to use a video platform, that's a lot of revenue opportunity. When we look at, let's say, things like webinars, I think that's a good example of a corporate perspective of looking at video. Corporations and enterprises in the enterprise space look at video kind of like just another file, another way of communicating an idea, right? So they're not, let's say, looking at that video from an entertainment perspective, but you know, we believe that there is a lot of scope to bring entertainment to the enterprise. Even video conferencing, any type of collaboration tools in terms of social networking that combine computing, communications, and entertainment, all together really combine what we see today as OTT and OVP. When we look at OVP from the perspective of serving terabytes of data, you can look at a startup seeing video as just another file. Okay? It could be like iCloud or iDrive or Dropbox. Let's just upgrade our servers to also serve video. And that's how a lot of OVP providers are evolving their startup services in terms of looking at OVP services as serving just another file. It's not necessarily the correct way of looking at it, because once we're serving video, then first of all, the bandwidth is about 1,000 times more than a normal file. Okay, we have digital rights management to consider. We have latency issues to consider. We have bandwidth issues to consider. We have a lot of storage costs to consider. Many other aspects. Once we graduate from delivering an Excel file or a Word file to a video file, there are many other components that need to be considered in order to deliver that. So we can't just use a classic cloud-based service to deliver video, because of all these other components that need to be considered. So OVP has kind of evolved in terms of realizing that, okay, we can deliver our files with a classic cloud-based service, but we need to have a separate platform for the video because of DRM, encryption, latency, and everything, and the quality of service that we need to maintain to get that video to the client so that they're happy with that quality. And that's where we come in terms of offering our OVP service in terms of making sure those considerations are met. So we can do OTT and we can do OVP. Okay? We come from an entertainment basis in terms of visual unity, but we can see a lot of scope in terms of the enterprise space as well. The advantages is that we've been doing this for 23 years in broadcast, and we've been doing digital video for 15 years. So the startups that are coming up and kind of looking at video as just another file and are offering an OVP service that have a couple of years experience don't quite have that basic level of experience that we bring to the table.